Hello nail friends, this is Honey Down Nails back again with another video. Watch me work 3D croc nail art. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and while you're at it, hit that notification bell so that you may be notified of all future videos. Hello nail friends, how are you doing today? I hope you are well. God bless you all. Today I'm going to be doing some 3D croc nail art. Now this was a suggestion from a friend of mine on Instagram, nailed by Shauna Nicole. I will be leaving her information in the box below. Please check out her Instagram page. Now I do not use blooming gel for this demo at all. I'm going straight from the bottle onto the nail and I'm going to do a crisscross. As you can see, I'm going to be using the honey yam on the green and the mint green on the honey yam. I'm going straight out of the bottle with this. If you do not feel comfortable doing this, then let me say, ladies and gentlemen, get out your nail art brushes. Now, I don't like to use my nail art brushes because my hands get a little shaky sometimes, and I really don't like to be redoing my nail art when I'm with a client or when I'm doing multiple press-on nails and I have to get things done in an adequate time frame. So I'm just showing you how I do this design straight out of the bottle. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then you can definitely use your pens. In order to keep everything nice and clean, as you see, I use 70% alcohol. And I'm putting some in a dapping dish, and I also have my Q-tips to clean my bottles off because gel collects a lot of lint along the way. So I'm just going to wipe away my excess, and I'm going to show you how we're going to start this off with a very healthy amount of gel. Not so much that it's dripping, but enough so you know you did it, okay? So just watch as I gently just make my first thick line. Make sure that it's even enough. It doesn't have to be perfect because in nature, most things are not. We have lines, circles, and squares, and sometimes they're bigger and smaller depending on the design or the pattern that you're working on. So when it comes down to crocodile scales or whatever you want to call them, really doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just making sure that my rays from end to end equals with my rays in the middle. Now, the more you add gel polish onto each line, you're doubling it up and it will make it thicker. But let me warn you that if your polish is not old enough, and that's another thing I want to say, I'm using 2-year-old gel polish. I'm not using gel polish I just bought yesterday because it would be too creamy and too runny for me to do this design without it running into the next line. Okay, I'm hoping I'm explaining that good enough for you to understand. So as you can see, I'm taking my time and I'm going to go down 2 to 3 lines and then I'm going to go back and go over the lines that I've already done. Now, if the line I've already done is adequate enough for me, I am not going to go back over it again. But the second line, I think I want to make it a little bit thicker, as you see. And this is how you get raised effect, 3D, 5D, 9D, whatever you want to call it. I let my clients know specifically, these are not smooth nails. These are called textured nails, which means you can rub them and feel the raises and the bumps in them. Because guess what? Crocodiles do not have smooth skin. They have dry, scaly skin, okay? So this is what we're going for. I even put wrinkles on the side of the nail polish, and how I did that was I over polished gel. So you know, if you over polish gel, it'll wrinkle in the dryer. So I over polished it on the side so that it would wrinkle, to give me that imperfect effect. And as you can see, I'm just taking my time with this. Now, if you will notice, as I'm getting to the middle of the nail, I'm going to be making my lines shorter and shorter. Now you see that? You see how I'm making it shorter and shorter as it gets down to the bottom. My last dot should be my shortest, smallest dot line. And that's what you want to do. Now, if you don't trust it, once you finish this part, I would suggest you put it underneath the dryer, let it cure, like a quick cure, 30 seconds, or let it cure all the way, 2 minutes. All right, so now we're going to move on to our next nail, and this is Sweet Yams. I love this polish. It reminds me of Thanksgiving. And I'm going to put the mint on top of that. So I'm just doing vice versa. Now, when it comes down to doing these types of nails, you can make it any way you want to. Black and white. Okay, you can do pinks on pinks. You can do Frenches. You can make every line a different color. You can make it rainbow. That would be pretty. You can make it any way you want to. You could even do gels, like a jelly background, and then do glitter, different colors of glitter. I have seen that on Instagram and Pinterest as well. But I do like the raised 3D effect, 5D effect. How you get 5D? You just keep going over top of the lines that you've already placed down. And every time you put it underneath the dryer, you go over it again. You put it underneath the dryer, you go over it again, and it'll get thicker and thicker, and then it will be so raised up, it'll be like a bubble nail. But as I'm making these little bubbles, I'm trying really hard not to touch my previous line, because you want adequate space in between, because otherwise what will happen is the gel polish will run into each other. So this is what I like to call the fun part. I'm going to take some of my dotting tools. I have some that's bigger and smaller depending on the sizes. If you're a little confused about what a dotting tool can do, in my last video I did explain the differences in the dotting tools and what they're used for. So if you want to see that, I suggest that you go back and check that out on my channel. Otherwise, for you veteran nail techs like me, a dotting tool is your best friend when it comes down to making imperfect or perfect lines, squares, and circles, because you can manipulate it. So as I'm putting my gel polish on the side of the nail, what I'm doing is I'm making a triangle, but I am manipulating that triangle. I'm pulling it, I'm elongating it. Some of them I am connecting, some of them I am not connecting. It's up to you what you want to do with this design. This is just the way that I do it. My clients like the way that I do it, this freehand. And like I said, in nature, things are not so perfect when it comes down to the scales of a reptile. So let me know in the box below what you think about this design. And like I said, you can make it any way you want to in different colors. You can see how it's raised up. You can. The more that you put extra polish on top of what you've already done, once it comes out of the dryer, it will become thicker and thicker. Or you could use gel base coat and make it thicker. You can use extender gels. It's more than one way to make this look. So I just wanted to say, if you had a design that you would like for me to try, please feel free to send me a Gmail at honeynail9. It's honeynail9 at gmail.com. If you do not know how to spell that, that's DOUL 9 at gmail.com. Send me a picture and I will do my best to, I don't like to duplicate, but I will make it my own. I'll put it to you that way because I don't think duplicating something shows creativity at all. I've been doing nails, well, actually this year made 30 years. I am retired for touching people's hands, but I do take orders on my press-on nails, and I do demonstrations. If somebody wants me to come and do some demos for them, I will do that, and I also teach classes. So I will forever be doing nails some kind of way, as long as my hands hold up. We can do nails until the last day. Oh, wow. I just love the way this is coming out. So tell me what you guys are doing for Thanksgiving. Is coming up next month. I was going to have this big Thanksgiving dinner at my house, but I decided not to do that. I'm like, COVID is still out there. It's still running wild. It's still killing people. So we still have to be careful. I still wear my mask. Even when I go into the stores, I still wear my mask. When I'm doing tips or any type of press-on nails for my clients, I will always wear my mask and my gloves. I want to be as clean as I possibly can. I know somebody recently that just passed away from COVID. So COVID is still out there. It is still running around seeking who it may devour. So this is how we know we have to stay prayed up in Christ, and we have to stay underneath the blood of the Lamb. So you see here that I have done the opposite on each nail. Now my next thing that I wanted to show you is this nail right here, how I have blended many different colors together. Starts out pink, ends up gold. And I put some white on the sides. I put some dots. I just changed it up. You can make it any way you want to. It would be really, really nice if you probably put some stones in there somewhere in between. So I'm just going to duplicate this look that I did earlier. And I'm going to be using probably the same dotting tools. I can't really remember. But I'm using purpley pink. I'm using this golden platinum. And I'm using this French tip white. And Pinklet Lady is my base. It's a lot of different colors going on. Like I said earlier, I think a rainbow one would look good. A jelly rainbow. Might try that over the summer. The spring, summer. It's whatever you want it to be. There are so many different designs floating around in my head. I could never really put them all down. Sometimes I write little notes, and if I get to it, I get to it. But I think my next design that I wanted to try is the Pop Art Cosmic Nail. It's all over the internet. It's beautiful. I think it's lovely. I appreciate it. People have been doing it in many different ways. But I saw one that was just amazing. I saw this girl, she did hers like a French. So it wasn't just one color. It was like 2 different colors per nail. And then she did the pop art on top of that. It really was very, very interesting. Now, when you're dealing with glitters, I learned from the mistakes that I had made when I was trying to do this nail in the beginning, is that even though the gel looks stabilized, eventually it will run together if you put too much on there. The bubbles look good. They look nice and raised. You want to make sure they're even. You don't want one bubble to be higher than the other. But another thing I want to tell you, do not put them too close together. Now, unless you're curing per bubble, which I wouldn't recommend you do because it would take you too long, eventually it will run together. So I would say you can take 2 to 3, you can do 2 to 3 bubbles and then maybe cure it that way. And make sure that when you're doing it, you're holding your design at an angle where it's not going to run. You need to look at it from all different angles to make sure that it's not crooked, like I just showed you how crooked that was before I redid it. And unless you're really, really meticulous, there's kind of like no way for each nail to come out exactly the same. And that's fine. Now see, since this is so thick, I am going to cure it. And then when I come back, this nail will be done and then we'll move on to the sides. Okay, now I've all the way down to the end. And now I'm going to move on to the sides. I like to put a little dollop on my upside down glass bowl. It's easier for me to clean. Okay, now with this one I'm using, like I said, I didn't know if I was using a different one or not. I'm using 2 different dotting tools, a smaller one and a bigger one. And I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to put pink at the bottom, gold at the top. You don't have to do it that way. Like I said, make it your own. When the nail was done, I honestly have to say I liked the way that it felt. The raises on it. If your client had a whole set, they would definitely be touching the top of their nails all the time because it's raised, it's not smooth. You could even do these nails in matte. I like them shiny. But if you did them in matte, they would still be just as beautiful. One thing about matte, you have to absolutely make sure that your product is absolutely dry. Because for some reason or another, matte streaks your polish, especially if you're using black. So you want to make sure that before you do anything that you have made sure that your product is cured, extremely cured. And I didn't make it perfect because I didn't want it to be. I want it to be a little offset. Like I said, in nature, things, if it's perfectly symmetrical, because we live in an imperfect world because of sin, things are kind of off. So I definitely did not want it to make it just a little bit off. I was satisfied with it. All right, and then when I finish with this, we're going to put the white on. I like the way that looked. And just put the white on the side, just like that. So this is the finished look of the nail, as you can see. I think this look came out really, really good. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Honey Doll Nails Watch Me Work 3D Croc Nail Art Designs. Right now I'm going to show you the reveal of both the nails that I did. Don't forget to Subscribe, like, and comment. And while you're at it, hit that notification bell so that you may be notified of all future videos. If you would like to email me, my information is down below in the inbox. If you would like to subscribe to my channel on Instagram, the information is below in the box below. God bless you all, and until we see each other again, nail friends. Thank you again for tuning in.